Hi, I'm Caitlin Moses. I'm the assistant team leader here at Keller Williams Market Pro Realty. And I'm with Tina Johnson, our team leader today. And we're just going to talk a little bit about when an agent needs to make their first hire. And this is something that we talk about with agents all the time. We see it all the time. So I guess Tina, share with us, what do you think, at what point should an agent start considering hiring somebody?
Well, I think they should consider hiring somebody if they're not growing, if they're not doubling their units every year, if they're hitting a ceiling, things just are too much for them. They need to start thinking about leverage to get them to the next level.
Yeah, they've kind of hit their E to P moment. We talk about that a lot.
Yeah, entrepreneurial to purposeful. That's what that stands for.
Breaking that ceiling. Why do you think it's important for a real estate agent to treat their real estate business like a business and not just a job? Because I think sometimes what might scare agents is when you're talking about hiring somebody, it really goes from, oh, I'm 1099, I'm doing my own thing, I'm responsible for myself, and it turns into like, oh my God, like I have to take this seriously.
Right. Yeah, I mean, from the very beginning, you need to treat your real estate career like a business, because it is a business. And if you want to grow it and go through the different levels and even probably replace yourself at some point, you need to think of it like a business. And that's what we talk about our 7th level team. That's the top tier you can get to. That's when you step away, you have someone that runs your company, you're a CEO, and you just get dividends from it. So that's really where a lot of people are headed. So they need to think about, how do I get there and what are the steps I need to take? And the first step is hiring that admin.
How do you know when you're an agent who's kind of doing a lot of business, everything's going great? How do you know it's time? You kind of coach a lot of top agents. What do you see them hitting that ceiling? Like, what's a sign they can look out for that they need to make that move?
Frustration, not good customer service, because that is the number one thing. The more you have to do, the less of a great customer service you can give to your clients, because you're doing it all. You're doing the marketing, you may have a TC, but contract to close person, but you're doing all the other stuff. So, you really need to think about, how do I get to that next level?
And I love that you said the thing about customer experience, because so much of real estate business and so much of any business is referrals. So if you're kind of dropping balls here and there because you're so busy, that's really going to hurt you in the long run. You might not see it right away, but moving forward, you might see your business taper off a bit because you're not getting those referrals. Is there a certain number of transaction or a GCI number that agents, when they hit it, it's really kind of a no-brainer to hire somebody?
It's all about the deal number. It's not about the volume, because you do the same amount of work pretty much it doesn't matter what the price is. So volume-wise, 36, maybe 40 if you're doing a lot of listings, because listings do not take as much time as buyers. However, when you're getting up in that 36 to 40 deals as a solo agent, no admin, you're really probably not having a life by design. You don't have time for your family. You don't have time for yourself. The things are really important to make a life worth living, right?
Yeah. I mean, we see that all the time where agents will be on vacation and they're still doing their real estate business. We say it's a blessing and a curse that you can do this job anywhere. Yeah, I mean, I understand that. How can you tell the difference as an agent between being busy and being productive? Like, what are some of the first things that you should give away to somebody in your business?
I think first thing is a contract to close person. Hire that person, even maybe right away in your business, because that frees that time up for you to do dollar per hour more activities than doing paperwork. Because you can hire someone, 400, 450 maybe a deal, maybe less, depending on who you hire, and you can totally go out and get more deals, because that's hours and hours of paperwork.
And I think, too, for the majority of agents, they don't even like doing the paperwork.
They're not good at it.
Yeah.
They're good at people. They may not be good at the paperwork.
Right.
And that's not what their strengths are, right?
Yeah, I think working, that's a good thing to talk about with E to P. We say all the time, when you're moving from entrepreneurial to purposeful, you get to a ceiling with your natural strengths. And an agent's natural strengths, really, like you said, most of the time, not all the time, because there's always somebody out there who's different. But it's people.
Right.
It's not doing, when I have to do tons of paperwork, I want to die.
Right.
I hate it.
Yeah. I think it's either people or systems that they're really good at. And neither one of those need to be doing paperwork. They need to use that time to increase their systems, reach more people, get more listings, and talk to more people, network. So it's just all about time.
And there's actually a really cool statistic. I wrote it down. We had Gene Rivers here last week. Hold on, I've put it in my notes. And he said every hire you make should earn you back 2,000 hours in your business. So think about, spending 2,000 hours doing paperwork or spending 2,000 hours doing lead gen. Your business should double with your first hire. So I guess knowing that you're putting money out there, you're making a big risk, what should you be looking for in a hire? How do you know you've got the right person who's going to help you kind of move to the next level?
Well, the beauty of Keller Williams is they have a career visioning course you can take that actually shows you how to hire people. So really, it's all about personality. You wouldn't hire someone that isn't good at systems and operations as your admin. So you want to know that's their strengths. You want to see that they've done it previously in jobs at a high level. And, we want to wait for that right person and not hire out of desperation.
Right.
Hire slow and make sure you get a high level talented person to take your business to the next level.
What do you think is a task, I guess, or actually, how do you think an agent should document their business as they bring somebody on? Because I think the real difference between a successful hire, I think a lot of agents get frustrated because they hire somebody and it doesn't work out. And they're like, see, I knew I shouldn't have done that.
Right.
And they've wasted all this money. Yeah. So how can they kind of prepare to make that transition?
So I think what stops most agents that I see is they're having to step back in their business a little bit to go forward. So they don't want to step back. They want to keep pushing forward, but they can't. They keep hitting that ceiling, so they have to hire somebody. So, you just want to make sure it's the right person for the job. And, and I can't remember your question, but
how do they hand it off? Like, how do they document what the person should be doing?
Yes. So we have a 30, 60, 90. So you hold them accountable. You're with them daily and the first 30 days you're with them every day, teaching them, training them, helping them. And then it progresses from there. In 90 days, they should be pretty much doing it on their own. And you should hold them accountable to metrics that they're supposed to hit. And if they're not hitting them, you need to retrain them. So it is a lot of time for 90 days. But it's super important that you get them trained correctly to take the workload off of you.
And I've always heard, too, in the KW trainings that I've gone to, that the very first task your admin should do, like you said, you stick with them, you put them right next to you, and they document everything you do in your business. So it's basically a book, like how to be Tina Johnson, how to be a top agent. And they document everything so that they're doing it how you would do it. Because really you're trying to a little bit replicate yourself.
Yes.
Because it's your business.
Yes. Actually, if you hire a good admin, they'll be better than you.
Which would be awesome.
Yes.
We all need that.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So after they've made a successful first hire and they've gained 2,000 hours back in their business, 2,000 hours should result in another 36 transactions.
Double their business.
It should double their business. Then what should they do?
So the next hire would be another admin. So oftentimes we see people just jump to a buyer's agent right away. But really, you have to have that infrastructure down to grow your business. And if you add another buyer's agent on, you're just adding more chaos. So you've got to get an admin, first hire for the paperwork and marketing, and then you'll hire a second one to take over the marketing. So one will handle transactions and listing coordination, all that, and then the second will handle all the marketing for you. And you should be getting a buyer in a listing off every listing that you have.
Yeah.
Good marketing plan.
If you're marketing it right, you should. So really, again, so you're gaining 2,000 hours with your first hire, and then your second hire, another 2,000 hours. And then, like you said, that's kind of the point where you hire a buyer's agent. We see a lot of times a successful agent, they've got more business they can handle, so they kind of jump to that buyer's agent. Could you kind of expand on why that ultimately doesn't work?
Well, you know, there is a cut when you have a team, you know, there is a cut between the team leader and the buyer's agent. So if you're not providing a high level service to that buyer's agent, they will not stay on your team.
Yeah.
So in order to do that, you have to have things in place, creating leads and more buyers, more listings and things that you can give to them and increase their business. So it's really not doing them a service if you bring them on without the infrastructure to create a big business to feed them.
Yeah. I think the only way to build a powerful big business is to build a powerful small business.
Yes.
So really, if you're partnering with another agent, like you said, there's no structure and you can't ever walk away.
Right.
You're just kind of, you're still dealing with all the stuff that you were dealing with at first. So what do you say to an agent who is having trouble making that first move? What do you say when they're nervous about their first hire?
I think we always go back to the big why. Like, what do you want your life to look like? Are you happy with where you are? If you're not, then you need to change something. And this model has worked for 20 years. People have built billion-dollar businesses on this model, so it works. You just got to trust the system. And, you know, we go alongside our agents and actually help them hire an admin. I'm working with one now. Someone needs a marketing person, and I actually had lunch or coffee with them the other day, and I thought maybe y'all are a good fit. So I'll take her through that process and see what I think, if she's a good fit, and then I'll hand them off to our teams.
I love that, because I think a lot of times they don't know what they're looking for or even where to start. So the CV process, I think, is fantastic for hiring. So if you were an agent and you're watching this and you're overwhelmed and you're like, okay, that is me. I'm hitting the ceiling. I'm doing 38 deals a year. I just don't know what to do. What's the one thing they can do right now today to get more leverage for their business?
Let people know you're looking to hire, because you've got to cast a large net to get talent.
Yeah.
So I say, put it out there. You're needing somebody. Just bite the bullet, put it out there that you need someone, and hopefully that right someone will show up and you can train them and take your business to the next level.
Well, I think too, you know, for a lot of people, maybe monetarily, they're scared. We say that you should save 3 months of your admin salary before you make your hire, because that's the 30, 60, 90. And you know that you're going to have to slow down for them to kind of catch up to you and learn your systems. So you save in advance for that first hire. If you're not there yet as an agent, I think too, there's lots of things you can do as an interim. You know, if you're at 30 deals, if you're at, and you're just kind of starting to feel overwhelmed, like maybe a transaction coordinator.
Yes,
Or
definitely.
hiring out your marketing.
You can leverage pieces of your business.
Yeah.
And lots of agents, that's what they do. But it really doesn't take your business to the level it would if you had someone
Dedicated.
that stayed with your organization through the years.
Yeah.
And helped you grow it together. They grow their business within yours, basically.
Let's talk about that first hire too, because in the MREA on a 7th level team, that first hire really is your director of operations who runs things after you step out.
Yeah.
So I think agents are often super independent. And Gene Rivers said it the other day, if somebody in your business is irreplaceable, then it's their business, not yours.
Exactly.
How do you give up, I guess, control? Yeah.
I think you need to realize what you're good at and stay in your lane and let them do what they're good at. They're going to be better than you, guaranteed.
They should be. If they're not, it's not the right person.
It's not the right person, but if you hire talent, they will be better than you. So you need to give up to go up. John Maxwell, I say it all the time on our leadership team. It's not easy to give up things because we think we can do it or we're comfortable doing it. We think we can just make it, keep doing it ourselves, but that's not the case. You have to give up to go up. So they just have to know that they're not the best person for that job. They need to fire themselves and hire talent.
Yeah. That's a lot of like introspective work they probably have to do to realize they're not the
It can be. And
Yeah.
a lot of people get stuck at this level. And they'll just keep hitting their head against the ceiling and never take their business to the next level because they don't hire that right person.
So what's one final piece of advice that you'd give to that agent out there who really feels like they're at a moment in their business, they're stuck and it's time to do something? What would you say to them?
So if they're in our company, I would say we're here for you. We'll help you every step of the way because we've hired quite a few people through the years, and we've taken career visioning many times, and we talk about personality. We really go deep in looking for talent. That's what I do. I recruit. So I look for talented people in our organization. So when we see talent, it's obvious to us sometimes. It's not always obvious to other people because they don't do it every day.
How do you recognize it?
It's different with different people, but you ask a lot of questions and you see where did they come from, what have they done, and look at their job histories and why did they move. We call it a move button. Like, was it for growth? Was it for money? You know, there's different reasons why people make a move. But just maybe dive in a little deeper and just try to teach them what talent looks like. Because if you don't recognize talent, it can come and go and you'll never know it, right?
Yeah.
But you got to dig a little bit and ask questions with someone and get to really know them. And we have what's called a killer personality assessment, which we do with all our people, and it really helps us get to know their strengths and what they're really good at, and help them stay in that area, that their top 20%, as we call it. So they can have a big business.
I love it. Well, thanks for sharing today. I think this is helpful for a lot of agents who are kind of, like we said, stuck at that point. At the 36 units, that is the hardest job in real estate, a solo agent doing 3 closings a month.
Yes.
And if this reaches anybody that it could help, I think that's amazing.
Yeah.